Imagine boarding a red-eye flight from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing, gliding through a clear, starry night. Everything feels routine: check-in, boarding, takeoff, all seamless. You're set to land in China by dawn, ready to start your day. But what if that flight never arrives? What if it vanishes, leaving a mystery that haunts the world for over a decade? This is the story of Malaysia Airlines flight MH370, a Boeing 777 that disappeared in 2014, carrying 239 souls into one of aviation's greatest unsolved enigmas. On March 8, 2014, at Kuala Lumpur International Airport, MH370 prepared for its 12:41 a.m. departure, destined for Beijing by 6:30 a.m. Leading the crew was Captain Zahari Ahmad Shah, 53, a veteran pilot with over 18,000 flight hours, one of Malaysia Airlines' most respected. His co-pilot, Farik Abdul Hamid, 27, was one flight away from full certification, eager to prove himself. With them were 10 Malaysian flight attendants and 227 passengers from various nations, mostly Chinese. From check-in to takeoff, everything went smoothly. For the first 40 minutes, the flight cruised without incident. At 1:19 a.m., MH370 reached the edge of Malaysian airspace. Kuala Lumpur's air traffic control handed the flight to Ho Chi Minh City's tower in Vietnam. The captain signed off with a casual "good night," forgetting to repeat the frequency. A small slip, nothing unusual. But that good night was the last anyone heard from MH370. Moments after entering Vietnamese airspace, the plane vanished from radar. No warning, no distress call, just gone. Air traffic controllers scrambled to reconnect, but their calls went unanswered. Military radar revealed a shocking twist. MH370 had veered sharply off its northeast path to Beijing, turning west across the Malay Peninsula toward the Andaman Sea and the Indian Ocean. By 2:20 a.m., just an hour after takeoff, it slipped beyond radar range, severing all contact. Panic erupted. Families waiting in Beijing clung to hope, unaware their loved ones might never return. The world soon learned of MH370's mysterious disappearance, sparking a global search and questions that linger to this day. The search launched immediately, targeting the last known position, 122 nautical miles off Malaysia's east coast near Kota Bharu. Despite clear weather, no distress signals or wreckage surfaced. Malaysia and Vietnam initiated joint search and rescue missions, joined by the United States, Singapore, the Philippines, and China, home to most passengers. The search area expanded to 50 nautical miles, covering the Malacca Strait and Gulf of Thailand, then to 100 nautical miles. Weeks later, focus shifted to the southern Indian Ocean, a remote region far from the original route. Australia led a massive effort, scanning 120,000 square kilometers along the 7th Arc, 200 to 500 kilometers southwest of Australia, between latitudes 33 and 36 south. Using cutting-edge tools, autonomous underwater vehicles, sonar, and drift modeling, searchers found nothing significant. In July 2015, a glimmer of hope emerged. A flaperon, a wing component, washed ashore on Reunion Island, followed by debris on East African coasts. French and Malaysian experts confirmed these were from MH370, rekindling optimism. But the fragments were too few to locate the crash site, and no human remains or black boxes were found, leaving families in agonizing uncertainty. On March 24, 2014, Malaysia's Prime Minister declared MH370 had ended in the southern Indian Ocean with no survivors, a statement that outraged families and fueled global skepticism. The $180 million route search, with contributions from China and others, yielded no answers. The independent group, a team of pilots, scientists, and engineers, analyzed data for over 2 years, but clashed with Australia's Transport Safety Bureau over the plane's final path, hitting dead ends. The Indian Ocean's vastness, coupled with early missteps in tracking the flight and Malaysia's reluctance to share data, frustrated efforts. Families protested, demanding transparency, feeling betrayed by the lack of answers. So what happened to MH370? Several theories have surfaced, each gripping yet inconclusive. The most controversial points to Captain Zahari. A 2018 Atlantic report suggested he deliberately crashed the plane in a mass murder-suicide. He requested extra fuel, enough for 7 hours and 31 minutes, far beyond the 5-hour, 37-minute flight to Beijing, allowing a detour to the remote Indian Ocean. A flight simulator at his home showed routes matching MH370's suspected path, raising suspicion. Some linked him to Malaysia's opposition party, noting a political ally, Anwar Ibrahim, was jailed the day before the flight. Did this trigger an extreme act? Reports suggest he circled for 22 minutes, possibly negotiating with authorities before heading south. Aviation expert William Langjuisha proposed Zahari depressurize the cabin, climbing to 40,000 feet to render passengers and crew unconscious within minutes due to oxygen deprivation. Passenger masks, effective for only 15 minutes at lower altitudes, would fail. Zahari, with cockpit oxygen, could have flown on alone. Former Australian Prime Minister Tony Abbott said Malaysian officials privately suspected the pilot, but Malaysia's then Prime Minister Najib Razak called this unfair without the black box or cockpit recorder. Zahari's stellar career and stable life, despite marital issues, argue against such a motive. Without hard evidence, this theory divides opinion. Another theory from veteran pilot Chris Goodfellow suggests a cockpit fire. A short circuit could have sparked a blaze, forcing pilots to disable electrical systems, cutting radar transponders. Zahari may have turned west to reach the nearest airport, climbing to 43,000 feet to starve the fire of oxygen. But at such heights, stability falters and smoke could have incapacitated the crew, leaving the plane on autopilot until fuel ran out. This explains the route change, but not the extra fuel request, unusual given 2014's high fuel costs. Goodfellow admitted his theory lacks proof, undermining its strength. Terrorism was also considered. Malaysian officials investigated 2 passengers using stolen Austrian and Italian passports purchased through China Southern Airlines, a codeshare partner. Stolen in Thailand in 2012, these passports were likely tied to smuggling or illegal immigration, not terrorism. No group claimed responsibility, and despite Malaysia's role as a transit hub for illicit activities, per a 2012 U.S. State Department report, no concrete terrorist links emerged. The timing, during China's National People's Congress with heightened security concerns, sparked speculation of an attack targeting Chinese passengers. But without evidence of explosives, this remains conjecture. Then there's the wild idea of a time warp. Some cite an unverified tale from 1992, where a Pan American DC-4 Flight 914 allegedly vanished in 1955 from New York to Miami, landing in Caracas, Venezuela, 37 years later. Air traffic controller Juan de la Corte reportedly saw the outdated plane and confused crew, suggesting a temporal anomaly. But let's be clear, at Real World Channel, we've debunked similar stories in past videos. No aviation records confirm this flight, making it likely a myth. For MH370, some hope it might reappear in another time or place, with all aboard safe. Wishful as this is, science firmly rejects such possibilities. It reflects the desperate longing for closure, especially for families. Imagine the heartbreak of those families. Ghislain Watralos, a French engineer, lost his wife and 2 of his 3 children on MH370. Like others, he's grasped at faint hopes. Perhaps the plane landed on one of Indonesia's 16,000 uninhabited islands or was hijacked to a hidden location. With no bodies or wreckage, he's left with unending grief. Families have protested, fearing the world will forget MH370. Over a decade later, the Boeing 727 remains missing, its black box is silent, its 239 souls an enduring mystery. Was it pilot error, a deliberate act, a mechanical failure, or something else? The southern Indian Ocean guards its secrets. Psychological profiles of Zahari show no clear motive, but 2014's geopolitical tensions in Malaysia and China add intrigue. Some speculate classified military technology, like radar jamming, played a role. Or perhaps MH370 lies in uncharted ocean depths beyond our reach. Whatever the truth, the mystery persists, a haunting reminder of human loss and the limits of our understanding. We can only hope that one day the full story of MH370 will come to light.